I jokingly said it for a while, but like we really do. I celebrate 2 birthdays every year. It went through a cycle of emotions that I'll hopefully never see again. Timing is everything. We hear that platitude all the time. Like, it was a left turn instead of a right turn, and the right turn would have been a completely different outcome.
Very happy with the hunt. So, like, I mean, the guide service was phenomenal. The experience was amazing. Got to learn a bunch of stuff about elk hunting that I thought I knew that I had no idea that I didn't know. And, like, can't wait for the next time I get an elk tag.
So I'm retired, Lieutenant Colonel Scott Frederick, and go by FESTER. FESTER given to me by Magoo McFall. Love you, but I hate you, brother. Held up a picture of me, an isoprep picture with Uncle Fester with a light bulb in his mouth, and I was named in the 510 Fighter Squadron in about 3 seconds. So thanks, Magoo. We don't ever want to see that year again, because it was early on, obviously 22nd of July. There's 1,000 ways that could have gone differently. So it's tough when you realize how close you came to dying. Normal day, we're going to do a deployment to Red Flag, Alaska from Masawa. We had weather canceled for sea fog, I think 2 days in a row, so it's like a Sunday if I remember right. And we're taking off early to do the 7-hour flight over to Eielson. And we're through the 3rd tanking, I think, staying topped off for all that. Uneventful, no big deal. Of note, kind of funny, it's about that time where it's time to break the seal. So I hit the boom, and I go out to the right wing, standard off there, and we're spaced out. And I was like, oh, hey, 3's racehorse, I'm gonna go hit the piddle pack. And like, no kidding, I am in the, like, just about to start going to the bathroom, my piddle pack, and I get thrown forward in my seat. No red lights in the cockpit. And I'm like, this is interesting. But I see my RPM has dropped down. And I go, get on aux and let everybody know, hey, 3's got a loss of thrust, which I'm sure got everyone's attention in the middle of all this, right? It's been a while. And then all of a sudden, like, whoop, the motor fails. I think Smack was the nearest, was the low divert guy at that point, Ballsizer. I'm like, dude, say nearest divert. And it was like, a la word I can't pronounce in Russia. Great. And we're 700 miles east of Japan, squarely in the middle of nowhere in the North Pacific with 55-degree water underneath you. So I was like, sweet. Here we go. Get lighter, snap north. And at this point, Klepto's coming with me. Everybody else is staying. The tanker's turned with us too. But I'm starting to lose altitude, descending. At least there's a cloud deck underneath me. So Klepto goes to trail off of me. I am holding 225 knots, which was my speed that I needed at that point for the fuel weight. Like, the best I've ever held an airspeed in my entire life. Like, at this point, like, we are trained to effect your own rescue. And I tell the tanker, prepare for a maritime rescue. Like, this is happening. When I get to 2,000 feet, I'm getting out. So that was the plan. Thankfully, I break out of the weather at about 3,000 feet. And I saw Klepto about to lose 3.9 over here. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I was like, dude, I'm getting out. Nothing good happens by waiting. So at that point, I made a quick radio call and told him I was getting out on the radio, and got in my good body position and pulled the handle. I remember getting in a good body position and pulling, my fat neck, tucked down and all that good stuff. And then I remember just, and then opening shock was the first thing I remember. And that's probably when I opened my eyes. What's going to happen next? Now it's going to work or it doesn't work, right? And there's nothing else I could do about it. Everything, like the ejection sequence worked great. Got rid of my mask, pulled that thing off. I'm like, cool. And literally, like every single time I did egress training my entire career, I went like, cool, sweet, visor, mask, LPUs, check. Yeah. It's exactly what I did. Every time I did the training, it's exactly what I did when I was in the parachute. I pulled the radio out and started talking to my flight lead, Cheech. And I'm like, hey, I'm not hurt. I'm okay. And there's really only 2 times in this whole thing while it's happening that I thought about Kristen. One, when Cheech left, I was like, hey, tell Kristen I love her. Like, cool. Not knowing what was going to happen in the next couple minutes. And then the other one was in the parachute. And I'm talking to him, hey guys, I'm okay, life's good, blah, blah, blah. And that was like proof of life, for lack of a better term. And now it's prepare for landing. No LPUs inflated because I was an idiot. But like my raft is inflated, hanging below me. I can see that there. And it's a quiet little like parasailing. I'm like, cool, this is a piece of cake. And I hit the water and probably sank a whole bunch. LPUs inflated, the little charge that does that when the Sea Wars or whatever, like, good on you. That all worked. Love it. Whoosh, I hit there, and dude, I have never gotten into the raft and all the water survival rehacks that I've done over the years as easy as I did that day. I always tell my family, like, why worry about things you can't control? And I was squarely in the middle of can't control much other than drink some water and try to relax. And that's all I was trying to do. And in 55-degree water, I was bone chilling cold. Like after about 4 hours, I was like, this is getting bad cold. I knew there was a plan. It was in motion. People were coming to get me. I always knew I was going to get recovered. Just faith in the system. Like, it's just going to be okay, right? And that's ignorant, but it's also hopeful. So I chose the hopeful path.
We found elk. We're going to get on elk. Gonna shoot the elk. Gotta be quiet, though.
So I'm in the raft. They get a plan. Sea fog rolls in. Visibility is probably 150 to 200 yards now. So about time I heard the first fog horn, went, holy shit, there's 200 meters, 200 yards visibility, and there's a 700 plus foot cargo ship that is bearing down on me. Like, I'm going to get run over by the cargo ship. But the cargo ship wasn't going to get me. That was part of the plan. They had the Hoka that had a Zodiac they could lower down. The Hoka pops out of the sea fog, and I lit them up with every flare I had on my person. Like, I'm like pin flares right at the crow's nest. The cargo ship wasn't going to get me. That was part of the plan. They had the Hoka that had a Zodiac they could lower down with 2 guys in it. Didn't speak any English. I said thank you when I got to them, and could I have some water? That was it. And they said a bunch of stuff I didn't understand. So, but they're the dudes that got me out of the water. So that was the plan. The Zodiac took me over to the embarkment ladder, like the big old rusty metal ladder that goes down to the dock off of a 50-foot tall cargo ship. And they get me out on the raft and get all my stuff. And then we walk up the embarkment ladder. And I thanks guys. And off go the Japanese. They go back to their ship and off they go. Never saw them after that. Like, I went up the ladder, he grabbed all my stuff, and then I'm on the MV Manikai. There are people who get hit in the face and turn back around and come at you. And there are people who get hit in the face and fall over and go into their little safe place and cuddle up and they quit. But then going 12 to 13 knots across the Great Circle steering route up by the Aleutian Islands and then down, it was going to be down the west coast to Long Beach. But then they came up with a plan with the Cutter Monroe out of Kodiak, Alaska, sailed south, rejoined with the cargo ship, like out in the middle of nowhere, and then they sent a Zodiac over. I get into the Zodiac, they go over there and lift us up, and now I'm on the Coast Guard Cutter Monroe. We spend the night cruising north, and then they put me on a Dolphin helicopter with two guys, pilot and two crew members, and flew. We were supposed to go to King Salmon, I think, but the weather was crap there, so we ended up in Dutch Harbor. And then that's where Kong Howard and our who's bro in our squadron, who is the 8th officer in our squadron, and our flight doc, they were on the King Air, and they met me there. And I literally got out of the helicopter, kissed the ground, hugged them, and then we like went to Elmo and like started the return trip and all that. But like that's how I got out of the ships onto land, and then into airplanes, and started working my way back to Masawa. Then they got me on a C-17 and headed back to Masawa. Well, Yokota took a helo ride over to Atsugi on a Huey, which is pretty cool, and then jumped on a C-40, which is like some kind of like 737 or something, Navy DB transport, and that got me back to a pretty kick-ass welcome home at Masawa 7 days later. So hunting is therapy. Like, we call it wind therapy on a motorcycle. It's therapy hiking around the mountains. Like, people go hiking, right? I go hiking too. I just carry a bow or I carry a rifle. Like, I don't usually go hiking for fun, which, is just what I like to do. Like, I'll go up there. So, like, the hunting piece of this and the therapy piece of it is like riding a motorcycle all day and then sitting around and having a cocktail over dinner and you talk about stuff with other veterans, especially. Super rewarding because there are things that I will talk about with veterans that I won't ever talk about with other people. Like, thankfully, both Teddy and I are alive to tell our stories, and but this, like, it won't be always that case. Like, something bad will happen in the future, and then like you reflect on stuff. So that's why I think hunting is important. Had some more conversations about some shared experiences that we have, which is what this whole thing started from, is whether it's hunting, whether it's whatever you do, man. Riding motorcycles is therapy for me. Whatever your thing is, but this is a great one. So like if you're somebody that needs to get out there and process some of the demons, as we call them, this is a great way to do it. I walked away from that hit slash miss, not a dead elk, but very happy with the hunt. But it's a process and it's rewarding, and it will be for other people too, and hopefully it turns into something that is we can continue going and get other people to support it and sponsor it, because just like the dude that rides motorcycles that prevents him from taking his own life, like, this could be the game changer for somebody. Like, they got to go tell their story, or they got to go experience it and listen to somebody else's story and be like, oh yeah, I'm not the only one that's ever happened to. tell those stories, because it is a little bit of therapy, and it's not, it's just being excited about what you do. Because if you don't care about what you do, then what are you doing, right? So you should want to tell the story, even the shitty ones.
If you're still watching this video, first and foremost, thank you so much. We hope it was an interesting take on what you thought a hunting film should be. Our mission here at Fortune is to not just sponsor guys on hunts, but to help tell their stories, to give them a platform to share the life lessons that they've learned. We really hope this is not the last Fortune hunting film that we get to produce. We hope it's not the last story that we get to share, but we can't do that without your support and your help. Down in the description, you'll find a few links, and one of them will be to our website. On our website, you can learn more about us. You can locate our donation platform, where you can buy some merchandise that helps fundraise and support this mission that we have going here. We've given everything we had to make FESTER the first film ever, to turn this dream into a reality, and we would love to continue this dream and this vision. Like I said, we can't do it without your help. We'll take all the help that we can get, and we would love to have your support. Thanks.